Hello everyone, welcome back for structure of an atom. Okay, today we are going to learn about more about the structure of an atom. You can see here how electrons are revolving around the nucleus of an atom, whereas protons and neutrons are being located in the center of the nucleus of an atom. Now, we need to study about spectrum. That is when a light is traveling right through a medium or without a medium, we can see if a transparent object is placed just in front of the light, we can see in the opposite side seven bands of color. Now that seven bands of color is known as a spectrum, and that is also given as a name Vibgyor, because violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Okay, now this spectrum you can even this band of seven colors you can even observe in the sky during the rainy season on the opposite side, right, in the form of a rainbow. Even on the roadside you can observe if some oily droplets is been there in the water. Fine. So what is a spectrum? When a light, when a white light is passed through a prism, it splits into a series of colored bands known as spectrum. So you can see a hot black body, that is sun is there. Then a cloud of cooler gas, right? That is a natural prism we can talk about. When it is passing, it is giving out the colors of spectrum, right? Three different types of spectrum you can see here. That is a continuous spectrum, and next is absorption line spectrum, and the other one is emission line spectrum. Now, how these spectrums, types of spectrums differ from each other, we are going to look it into this particular video. So, what are emission and absorption spectrum? Right, emission spectrum means the spectrum that is formed due to the emission of white light. I repeat, emission spectrum means the spectrum that is formed due to the emission of white light by gas at high temperature is known as emission spectrum. This kind of spectrum usually consists of bright lines on the dark background. Emission of energy by electrons generates emission spectrum, whereas the absorption spectrum occurs due to the absorption of white light. Now, I hope you know the meaning of absorption and emission. Emission matlab emit, the lights that is emitted, and where is absorb matlab soak lena. Okay, so the spectrum which occurs due to the absorption of white light by gas and transmitted white light, it is termed as the absorption spectrum. Unlike emission spectrum, it also consists of dark lines on the bright background. Right, what is the basic difference between the absorption and emission? In emission, the bright lines on the dark background. But here, it is dark lines on the bright background. So, this is the basic difference between the absorption and emission spectrum. Again, it is due to the absorption of energy by electrons, whereas it is emission spectrum is due to the emission of energy by electrons, and it generates emission spectrum. Next comes the line spectrum or atomic spectrum. Now, what is line spectrum? This is made up of distinct lines. When an electron in an atom excites and de-excites, मतलब जब वो energy absorb करेंगे, so they will be excited and will try to go to the another state, as we have learned in grade 10th that in the carbon and its compounds chapter, that how carbon is getting excited and It is forming a bond with the hydrogen atoms to obtain different hydrocarbons, right? So, line spectrum or atomic spectrum is made up of distinct lines when an electron in an atom excites and de-excites, this line spectrum occurs. Emission and absorption spectra show the line spectrum. Now, band spectrum, it is a characteristic of a molecule. It consists of closely spaced line called bands. In a molecule, the vibration and rotation of atoms generates such spectrum. Now, how do we study this spectrum? So, it is given by spectroscopy, right? The study of emission or absorption spectra is referred as spectroscopy. That means the study is referred as spectroscopy, and spectral lines for hydrogen, right? We have a different spectral line, say Lyman. Now, these all spectral lines has been given name based on these chemists, based on this scientist who has discovered this light, right? When n is equals to 1, this series has been discovered by Lyman, and hence it is known as Lyman series, Balmer series, Paskin, Brackett, and Clifford. Okay, next comes Rydberg equation. Now, what is Rydberg equation? It is the mathematical formula which is used to predict the wavelength of light resulting from one energy level of an atom to the another. Now, when the electron moves from lower energy to a higher energy state, a photon of light is absorbed by the atom. And what is the Rydberg formula? That is represented as 1 by lambda is equals to Rz square into 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square. Now, what is this Z? What is this R? Right, what are these N? Lambda we know that it is the wavelength of the photon. Now, R is the Rydberg's constant whose value is 109677 per centimeter. Z, it is the atomic number of the atom, and N1 and N2, they are the integers where N2 is always greater than N1. Now, for most of the problems, we deal with the hydrogen, so we can use this formula RH, 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square. Let's solve an example and understand this application of Rydberg's formula. So, find the wavelength of the electromagnetic radiation that is emitted from an electron relaxes from n is equals to 3 to n equals to 1. So, we know the Rydberg's formula. After substituting the Rydberg's formula, we need to place the value of n1 and n2 over here. Then, after using the Rydberg's constant, right, you can see we have converted the Rydberg's constant into the scientific notation, and then we are using it and we have obtained the wavelength. Hence, this formula gives a wavelength in meters using this value for Rydberg's constant. I suppose it is understood that how we are going to utilize this Rydberg's equation. Next comes Bohr's model for hydrogen atom. So, what did he say? We have already learned about the Bohr's model in grade 9. That is, Niels Bohr's model was based on the basically two principle, that is, it is revolving around, electrons are revolving around the nucleus of an atom, right, in a discrete orbit and have the different energy levels, and based on the value of n, we have a separate orbits or shells like n equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. We have the K, L, M, N, and so on shells, right? So what does it tell us about the hydrogen model? Let's see. An electron in the hydrogen atom can move around the nucleus in a circular path of fixed radius and energy. These paths are called orbits or energy levels. These orbits are arranged concentrically around the nucleus. Now, what is concentrically? Having the same nucleus, right? You have already studied about concentric circle. Concentric circle means all the circles having the same center but different radius. So here as well, their orbits are arranged concentrically around the nucleus. As long as an electron remains in a particular orbit, it does not lose or gain energy, and its energy remains constant. But as it absorbs the energy, then it is moving on to the excited state. And again, by emission of energy, it will get back to the original state. So when transition occurs between two stationary states that differ in energy, the frequency of the radiation absorbed or emitted can be calculated. That is, mu is equals to change in energy upon h. An electron can move only in those orbits for its angular momentum is an integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So we can rewrite this equation, that is mvr is equals to nh upon 2 pi. You can see how Bohr's model of an atom is actually acting. On the left hand side, it has been clearly seen that energy is coming, right. The electron from the first orbit absorbs the energy and move on to the second level. Then again, by emitting energy, it get back to the first level. Right, this is the way how absorption and emission takes place, and the electron can move from one level to the another level, and again it can get back from that particular level to its original level. So here the energy diagram is being shown, energy absorbed and energy emitted. So when an electron absorbs the energy, it moves on to the excited state, and after emitting energy, again it gets back to the ground state. So I hope absorption and emission spectra is clear to you. Next comes how we are going to calculate delta E with respect to the Rydberg's equation. Right, NF means the final level and I means the initial one. So your final was 2. Right, N is to 4 to 2. So final minus the initial we are going to get, and hence we can calculate the energy of the photon. Next, the limitation. Each model of an atom has some or the other limitations. So Bohr's model failed to account for the finer details of the hydrogen spectrum that we have already learned, and even it was also unable to explain the spectrum of atoms containing more than one electron. So it is limited to only hydrogen spectrum. Next came up to overcome this model, that is de Broglie hypothesis. De Broglie hypothesis again told that matter is having a dual behavior. As we have seen that light having the dual behavior, similarly he is again says that is the matter has the dual behavior, that is the particle nature and the wave nature. In 1924, de Broglie suggested that the same is true for matter as well. He proposed that frequency and wavelength can be associated with an electron's energy and momentum. What is momentum? Momentum is equals to mass into velocity. Right, which is matlab, when you shot a gun, right? So there is well momentum exists, and even you have also learned about the law of conservation of momentum, right? That is m1 v1 is equals to m2 v2. So here comes with the momentum as well, that lambda is the de Broglie wavelength. We know mu is equals to E by h, but what is lambda? Lambda is equals to h upon p. So by substituting this value into these equations, that is E is equals to p into c, where c is velocity of light, right? We can have h mu, because de Broglie equation has given lambda is equals to h upon mv. Lambda is equals to h upon mv. Now, after that, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle come into existence. Now, what does it say? That it says, "Ke hum saath mein," we cannot measure the actual velocity. I mean, at time, both the things cannot be measured. That is, he says that the position and the velocity of an object, the position and the velocity of an object cannot be measured exactly at the same time given in the theory. We will be quickly seeing an example how it is happening. You can see a blindfolded boy is been there in a closed room by placing a ball into it, where the velocity of ball, initially the velocity of ball was 5 meter per second, but position was unknown. Now, when it came to that particular ball and a ball got struck by him, so now both the velocity is unknown and hence the position is also unknown. Unless and until he open up his eyes, he won't be able to know the position of the ball. So this is what Heisenberg's uncertainty principle tries to explain, that when an object is in motion, we cannot calculate the velocity and its exact position at a time. Simultaneously, it cannot be calculated. Next, failures of Bohr's model says that it ignores the dual behavior of matter. Again, it contradicts Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, which again results into the classical mechanics. Now, classical mechanics is based on Newton's laws of motion, which says that the motion of macroscopic particles, right, it successfully describes the motion of macroscopic particles but fails in the case of microscopic particles because classical mechanics ignores the concept of dual behavior of matter, especially for subatomic particles and the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Next comes quantum mechanics, which is a theoretical science that deals with the study of the motion of the microscopic objects that have both observable wave-like and particle-like properties. So quantum mechanics is based on a fundamental equations which is called as Schrodinger equation, right, which is also pronounced as Schrodinger equations. Any way you can pronounce, but the spelling should remain the same. It says h psi is the wave function, is equals to E psi, right, where psi represents the wave functions which gives the amplitude of the electron wave, E is the energy value, and H is the Hamiltonian operator or energy operator. Let's see these things in next video. So I hope these all terms are clear to you. Kindly please go through this term as well as refer your textbook. Thank you. Stay safe, stay immune.